Most people think manifestation happens when they sit down to visualize or repeat their affirmations. It doesn't. Manifestation is happening right now, in this moment, in every moment, not in just the 5 minutes you spend on your morning routine, but in every single perception you have of your reality throughout the day. Every meaning you assign to what happens, every interpretation you give to what someone says or doesn't say, every story you tell yourself about what the silence means or what the delay means or what the circumstances mean about you and about what's possible for you. That is the real creative moment, not the visualization, your perception. So if you're doing a morning routine, that's great. I do too. I love a morning ritual. But if you then go about your day and you give the exact same old negative meaning to everything that shows up, same interpretations, the same stories, the same perception that has been generating your reality all along, and then you wonder why nothing changes. If that's happening to you, this video is all about that invisible creative act that is happening continuously all day, every day. And once you see it, you will never look at your reality or create your reality the same way again. If you're new here, hello, I am your Muse Traci. On this channel, I help you unlock the power you already have but can't access. I help you break through where years of trying has failed. And the biggest hurdle of all, I help you go from intellectually knowing all of this wonderful, juicy information, the law of assumption, to permanently embodying it. I spent years doing all the right things and getting only surface level results. But when I finally discovered what was actually creating my reality and why I kept struggling in certain areas, everything changed. Now I help people break the patterns keeping them stuck. And I help them to start manifesting the love, the money, the joy, the success they've always known they're meant for. So, first, to understand why perception is the real creative act, you need to understand what is actually happening when you perceive anything in your reality. Your brain has a gatekeeper, the reticular activating system, the RAS. And its entire job is to decide out of millions of bits of information what you actually get to notice, what makes it through to your conscious awareness, what you perceive as your reality. And what does it use to make the decision about what gets through? You might have guessed it. If you're not new here, you might know what I'm going to say. Your existing belief system. Your current assumptions about yourself and about how the world works, your subconscious programming, the operating system that was installed in childhood that has been running below your conscious awareness ever since. Your RAS filters reality through your programming. It shows you what your subconscious expects to see. It confirms what your deepest beliefs already assumed to be true, which means two people can be standing in the exact same environment, having the exact same day, and perceive two completely different realities. Not because their circumstances are different. No, they're standing in the same place, remember? It's because their filters are different. The filter is not just deciding what information gets through to your conscious awareness. It is also determining what meaning gets assigned to the information that does get through. Your programming doesn't just filter what you see, it tells you what it means. And it does this in milliseconds. So, for example, you get a text, let's say late at night, 10 p.m. What meaning do you assign to this? Is it someone who's thinking about you, and so, of course, they're reaching out? Or is it someone who only shows up when it's convenient for them? Your programming decides this meaning, before you've thought about it consciously, before you've chosen any conscious interpretation. The meaning arrives almost immediately, instantaneously, and creates your perception. This is reality creation in action. Because your reality is what you say it is. The meaning you assign to it is creating what you'll see more of, what you'll see next. It's not your morning affirmations that create your reality. It's the meaning you assign to what is already showing up in your reality that creates your reality. That is creation happening continuously, below your awareness most of the time, driven entirely by the subconscious programming. This is how perception creates reality. And it's not a metaphor, it is actually the mechanism that you create with. Your perception is created by your programming. And so, this is how your programming is generating your reality below your conscious awareness. This is why people don't really see it happening. It's happening automatically. Every meaning you assign is a new creation. Every interpretation is a new assumption. Every story is a vote for more of that, whether you want it or not. So, what is running in your subconscious is what is filtering your reality, and what your reality looks like to you is what your consciousness is continuously creating more of. So, let me make this completely concrete with a few examples. I want to show you how two people can be in the same exact situation, same event, and have completely different perceptions of the situation, and therefore two completely different realities are being created. Person A. Person A has a low self concept around love. Their subconscious programming says, I'm not chosen. Love is conditional. I have to earn it. Now, the situation is, let's say 2 days pass with no text from their specific person. Their RAS immediately filters and assigns worst case meaning. Meanings like they're pulling away, she's losing interest. This is the pattern once again showing up. I must have done something wrong. Maybe I said too much. Maybe I didn't say the right thing. Maybe I'm not enough for them. I'm being rejected. That meaning, which gets generated automatically and nearly instantly below your conscious awareness, is a creative moment. It is the subconscious assumption, I'm not chosen, being confirmed and being perpetuated in real time. Now let's talk about person B. Person B has a high self concept around love. Their subconscious programming says, I am someone who is simply loved and chosen. People show up for me. I know my value. I'm not waiting for anyone to confirm it. The same 2 days pass with no text. Their RAS immediately filters the same situation through a completely different lens. They must be busy. Life is full. This has nothing to do with me and everything to do with their circumstances. I know where I stand. I'm enjoying my life in the meantime. And so they go about their life, they're not white knuckling their way through the doubt, trying to just hang on and affirm on the surface. No, they are actually free, feeling content because their perception of the silence is completely different, filtered through a different operating system. And they are creating a different reality from it without even trying. So again, same 2 days, same absence of a text, two completely different realities being generated. Again, this is what I want to make clear. This is a creative moment. The way you perceive reality is the way you create reality. Let's look at another circumstance. Again, person A has a low self concept around money. Their subconscious programming says money is scarce. Things always go wrong. I'm someone who always struggles financially. And the circumstances, an unexpected large bill arrives. Their RAS immediately filters for the familiar meaning of course, this always happens. Something always comes up like this. I take two steps forward and then something unexpected always shows up. I'm never going to get ahead. Money always runs out. There's never enough. That story, generated automatically, is a creative act. The scarcity frequency running in real time and creating more evidence of itself. Back to person B. Person B has a high self concept around money. Their subconscious programming says, money moves through my life. I handle things. Abundance is my natural state. Whatever I spend comes back to me doubled. The same bill arrives. Their perception is, I always have more than enough. I'm so happy I have the means to pay this bill. Money always shows up unexpectedly. I am abundant. Abundance is my birthright. So it's not denial, it's not toxic positivity. It's a genuine different perception generated by a different operating system. And that perception is what is creating a different reality from the exact same circumstances. So, do you see what's happening? The self concept is not just a belief you hold, it is the filter through which you perceive every single thing that happens to you. And what you perceive, the meaning your filter assigns to your reality instantaneously, is what you are continuously creating more of. The affirmations you did this morning was maybe 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes. The meaning you gave that text, that bill, that was the entire rest of the day, right? Because we do this continuously with every situation, every circumstance. That was the actual creative work happening in real time. The power of perception is something most people miss completely in terms of creating their reality. It is completely blind to them that there could be any other meaning assigned to the circumstances. And yet, this is how they continue to create the same reality again and again and again. So, this is the loop, and I want you to see it clearly because it is so invisible that most people never notice it's happening. But not you if you're watching this video. So, for example, you wake up, you do your morning practice, affirmations, visualizations, maybe some journaling. You shift your energy, you feel good, you feel into a higher state of being, and you go into your day. And then your day happens. Something doesn't go the way you wanted. Someone doesn't respond the way you hoped. A circumstance shows up that contradicts the belief you were affirming, you were just affirming this morning. And you're programming the subconscious operating system that has been running since childhood immediately assigns meaning to it. The familiar meaning, the old story, the interpretation that confirms what the deepest part of you has always believed. And you don't even notice it's happening because perception feels like reality. The meaning your filter assigns feels like the objective truth about what is happening. It doesn't feel like an interpretation generated by your programming. No, it feels like simply like this is just what that means. It feels like the only option. And in that moment, in that invisible creative act of assigning meaning, you have undone the morning's work. You have broadcast the old frequency more powerfully than you broadcast, your affirmations. And you may wonder, I'm doing all the right things. Why isn't anything changing? And it's simply because the real creative act, your perception, hasn't changed yet because the filter generating the perception, the subconscious programming, hasn't changed yet. I lived in this loop for years, unfortunately. I was consistent with my practices, I understood the teachings, and certain patterns just kept showing up no matter what I did. But the moment I understood that my perception, the automatic meaning I was giving to everything around me, was what was actually doing the creating, that's when everything finally shifted. Now, I want to pause here because if what I'm describing is landing for you, if you can see the loop operating in your own life, this is exactly the work I do with my one on one clients. And we're not necessarily managing the perception on the surface, but we're going into the specific programming that generates it, the specific subconscious beliefs that run your filter, the specific operating system assigning meaning to your reality in real time, so that what you automatically perceive and the meaning you automatically give to your circumstances begins to shift. And that is when the loop can break. If you're ready for that level of work and support, the link to book a free strategy call with me is in the description and in the pinned comment. So then, how do you actually shift the filter? How do you change the subconscious programming that is generating your perception so that what you automatically see and automatically assign meaning to begins to align with what you actually desire to create? Let's look at some practical steps so that you can start applying this right away. Step 1, catch the meaning that you give to any triggering event. Most people try to manage their thoughts. So most people know this as flipping thoughts. They catch a negative thought and replace it with a positive one. What you want to catch instead is the meaning, the story your programming is assigning to what just happened. Not really the event itself, but your interpretation of it. So, for example, he didn't text. That's the event. He's pulling away. And this is my pattern again. That's the meaning. The meaning is the creation. That is what you want to become aware of. Step 2, ask what programming is generating this automatic meaning. Once you notice the automatic meaning, get curious about it. Not self critical, there's a difference. Just curious. What must I believe about myself for this to be my automatic interpretation? When you can see the subconscious belief, when you can trace the meaning back to the programming, it already starts to lose some of its authority because now it is visible as just your programming rather than being invisible as truth. Step 3, shift the programming. Understanding the subconscious belief is the beginning. Shifting it is the work. This is where subconscious reprogramming is required, not just surface affirmations, but the kind of deep identity level work that changes what the subconscious assumes to be true. When the programming changes, when you shift your belief about who you are and what is available to you, the RAS, your reticular activating system, recalibrates. The filter shifts, and what you automatically perceive from the circumstances begins to change without effort. Step 4, practice conscious perception as a bridge. So while the subconscious work is happening, and it does take time, it's a practice, you can practice conscious perception as a bridge. What do I mean by this? When you notice automatic meaning being assigned, you can pause and ask, is this the only interpretation available? It's not. There's a million interpretations you can assign to anything. So you can ask, what would a person with a high self concept perceive in this exact moment? What meaning would they give? The meaning your subconscious spit out in milliseconds is actually just one option. And you are actually completely free to assign any other meaning that is more in line with what you desire to create in your reality. Remembering that this is a creative moment because your reality is what you say it is. So, to close here, your affirmations are not creating your reality. Your visualizations are not creating your reality. Your perception is creating your reality. The meaning you give to every text, every silence, every circumstance, every delay, that is the continuous creative act. And you cannot out affirm that. That is what you are creating in real time. Your entire experience is being filtered through your reticular activating system. This is what most people miss completely. They work on what they're consciously choosing to believe, and they leave the programming that is shaping everything they unconsciously perceive completely unchanged. And I'm here to tell you, you cannot out affirm your perception. You cannot out visualize your filter. The subconscious is always louder. It's 95% to 5%. It's not even close to being equal. The work is to address the subconscious, the programming, the filter, the operating system that is generating your perception in milliseconds that feels so real, so true every moment, not just during your morning ritual. Again, I love a morning ritual, but we have to, understand that this is not the creative act. And I want to repeat this because so many people think that that's what's happening and they stay stuck. So when that shifts, when the subconscious holds a different assumption, the filter, your RAS, changes. The perception changes. The meaning assigned to the same circumstances changes. And the reality being created from that meaning changes. Your perception creates your reality. Change the programming that generates the perception. That is the whole work. Drop a comment for me down below. What story does your filter keep telling about what things mean? Let me know if you had an aha moment from this video. And if you're ready to change your filter to shift the subconscious programming that is generating your perception of reality in real time, in every moment, you can book a free strategy call with me. There's a link down in the description and in the pinned comment. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. See you in the next one.